This story is called Cars on Our Street. Often I hear tales from folks of cars that they admired, even coveted, from a distance as they were growing up. Not cars owned by their parents, but those belonging to other people, perhaps in which sometimes an occasional lift may have been had. These cars were the punctuation marks outside houses, mostly on driveways, as it was rare for car ownership to rise above 2 per household, and garages were most definitely the province of cars, not dumping grounds for out-of-favour gym equipment and outgrown bicycles. There were, though, the odd exception. Take next door, the Brain family. Doreen, Tom, one girl, 2 boys. They had a P6 Rover as their main car. Very classy, I thought. Why we couldn't have one was beyond me, but parsimoniously specced Fords were the order of the day at my weekday home. However, it wasn't the Rover which drew my attention. Midway through the 1970s, as the eldest Brain child, Andrew, approached the golden age of 17, an Austin A35 arrived on their driveway. Work commenced on making the car drivable, with the 2 boys hard at work on the thing day after day. A black Austin A30 also appeared as a donor, giving the 10-year-old me a little insight into the visual differences between the 2 types. Little back window on the A30, big wraparound one on the A35. Not stupid, you know. The A35 emerged hand-painted in blue, looking rather racy without hubcaps, later on sporting row-style wheels. It certainly had an influence on me as to what I thought was cool. And all that spannering informed me that such things were possible on a driveway. 3 doors further down the hill, at number 121 Walsall Road, Four Oaks, lived a family I knew not, but their second car was an appealing Sunbeam Stiletto Sport, which I studied from afar, again noticing differences, this time between it and its Hillman and Singer counterparts. Next door to the Stiletto lived my childhood friend Susie Adair and her older brother Murray, the latter being the outgrown source of my first ever cycle with pneumatic tyres. Susie's mum, Irene, had a rather fetching Mark I Mini with cable door releases and what I now know as being an early specification interior. Occasional day trips were had in this fine machine, us children rattling around in the rear, being strongly warned to sit down. The excitement of a car ride as a child. The only further car of note in this direction belonged to the mother of my chum Richard Brooks. He was a year older than I, and so vastly more experienced. Aged 5, he was already at school and took school dinners, regaling tales of having to eat everything on one's plate, or trouble would ensue. I was terrified at the prospect of being forced to eat a tomato or a banana. This trouble actually came to pass. Such were the times. I digress. Richard's mum owned a split-screen Morris Minor, which I thought splendidly old-fashioned, with its rigid wiper blades in clap-hand formation. I remember only one trip in this car, but for the whole journey I sat transfixed on the split screen, willing it to rain. It didn't. Turning attention to cars resident up the hill at various junctures, next door, the Farrs had a late model Ford Corsair, which I always felt was a cut above our own string of Cortinas. We had in fact once owned an early Corsair registered 815 KOL, but I hardly remember that, only from photographs. Next door to the Farrs lived a trendy young couple who during the mid-1970s not only had an Opel Manta, but they had a droop-snoot Vauxhall Forenza as a second car. Very stylish indeed. I wonder if they work for General Motors. Possibly. Further up the road, at number 101, the Whitakers had, for a while, a BMC Farina, a Morris Oxford, I think, a car to which day I admit to thinking of as being a tad stodgy. But the car in which I travelled to school most mornings belonged to my friend Tim Ricketts' mum, Dilys. In 1970, Dilys took delivery of a brand new Mini Clubman estate in white, complete with faux wood trim strip. This splendid car saved us boys plenty of shoe leather, well actually, in reality, plastic, as we wore de rigueur Clark's Commandos shoes. Dilys passed away recently, so this gives me an opportunity to forward my condolences to the whole family. But I must say, every morning she got that car out and took us to school, and we were never late. I mothered as much as I dared to try and get us to become a two-car family, imagining some exotic mouldering heap arriving on the drive. But it was all to no avail, and we never achieved such status. More's the pity.